really want you guys here because I want to speak to you all. Because I mean, obviously we talk through our calls and you guys see a trillion of my videos, but I try to make it a personal effort as much as possible, like actually bond with my students and actually make it real, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to just online. So whenever I'm in different cities, I always try to do something to kind of gather us. And I may, with this webinar, I'm still debating as far as like the production of the webinar. I may talk to the screen, or I may talk to you guys, or I may just, because I want our other students who couldn't make it here to also get the experience, because not only am I going to be talking about different initiatives that we're doing, and really just a little more of who I am as a person, and why I'm doing this, just to make it perfectly clear for everyone. I want to talk about that. I may do that off the webinar, and we just record it, and we'll put it out later, or I may do it on the webinar, I'm not sure. But a large part of why I wanted you all here was just to really, because when I say the word mentor, I don't use it loosely, so it's not like a marketing word for me. It's like I really, although I haven't met all of you all one-on-one until today, most of you, I still look at the responsibility to help empower you, help guide you as best as I can. So I feel like to do that, like, you know, I was gonna get into Chris and like even Nigel's story. Nigel's been, basically he's my partner now, but he's been like a protege maybe for 3 years now, 2-3 years now. And Chris started as an intern who met me in Philly, just heard me on the radio, saw me on the World Star, came to an event we did in Philly, was like, yo, bro, I want in, like, what I gotta do? And he just started doing intern work, doing social media for us. And then after being consistent, I mean, like, I saw his talent, but I had nowhere to fit him in the company. But he just did whatever he could do, like, hey, I'll mop floors, be janitor, whatever I gotta do, but I want it. And he just stayed consistent and did that, and then an opportunity opened up, and he came in and he started working his way up, and now he's a VP of operations for the academy. He runs our day-to-day. Starting from just not knowing me from anything. It's been like 2 years now. So, and you know, I have a couple cribs, and we have one here in Jersey that we mostly work out of. And, you know, he basically stays there like 5 days a week. He's at the crib. You know, so I'm just saying that I look at unlimited potential and talent in every room and in everybody, and you never know where those relationships and that talent guide you. And that's kind of why I got into mentoring, is because you guys would have seen me 10 years ago, yo, like that dude, he's bound, you know what I'm saying? He's a statistic, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I get into so much about appearance and all the other kind of stuff, because people, and I'm probably doing a little bit of my webinar talk now, but whatever, but people, you know, see a lot of what, you know, God has been able to guide me to and has blessed us with, and, you know, what we've built as a company and as a brand, and you just think like, this is where it's at, but, you know, I guess I'm trying to elaborate, because I haven't wrote my book yet, I haven't wrote my life story yet, right? So I'll tell little bits and pieces of it, but it's like, as we get into, as I paint the picture better for people, like to get to know Jay Morrison, the person outside the real estate mogul and celebrity realtor and all the other kind of stuff, when you really just see who I am as a person and what I've been through, that really speaks to why I do all this. It's because I always had potential, I was really bright, but potential misguided could end up in all the wrong places. For females, males, there's probably some rocket scientists on the strip pole somewhere. You know what I'm saying? There's some genius businessmen on the corner right now or in prison somewhere doing 10 or 15 or 20 years. There's probably, you know, all types of situations where people had crazy potential, but one or two wrong mistakes could wash it all away. So I feel like if we offer mentorship and do it authentically, and actually give people an outlet to do something, right? So it's different just being motivational, saying, hey, you know what? I was a high school dropout, I was in prison, I was this, I was that, I grew up in poverty, but now I made it, yeah, go do it. But it's like, what do I do, right? So the academy was, why I created it is because real estate was the first thing that really caught traction for me as something legitimate that I could do. And that anyone really could do, because housing is an infinite industry. It's always gonna exist, it always has existed. So, you know, that's why, you know, I think real estate is a great, just something for everyone to learn and know a little bit about, whether you want to do it full-time, part-time, whatever you want to do. And it really helped me mature as a business person, because I had I had great natural talent in business skills, but I had no professional skills. And getting in the real estate industry allowed me to hone my professional skills and my networking skills and organization and delegation, and just challenged me to learn something totally outside the box. I remember my first time when I got my real estate license, and I was a loan officer, and I was starting my investment company, and I had like 2 emails, right? But I never had an email. It's like 2005, 6. I never had an email. I didn't know how to work an email. Like, that's not something I did in my world. Like, but how do you do this? And that was just like, that alone was such a it was such a challenge. Like, I was supposed to shy away from it, because a lot of times, like, things that make us uncomfortable, we don't want to, you know, and you feel kind of dumb. It's like, I'm around all these people in my office, like 70 agents. They're all like, I'm pecking over here. Like, you know what I'm saying? How do I log in? What's my inbox? Like, what's this? What's the server? Like, so me fighting those obstacles, and a lot of what I teach you guys at University of Success, because it really helped round me out and really just see, like, all right, if I'm persistent, if I'm patient, if I just like get through what I don't know, you can get there, right? So you know, that's just a large part of maybe I won't even cover in the webinar now, but that's just a large part of why I do what I do. I'm doing this. Like, this is a big challenge, like, to organize hundreds and thousands of people throughout the country and do it all online and teach lessons and all that. It's a challenge. It's I don't know if to say difficult. It's a challenge. So, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. Our team enjoys the challenge, and the challenge of making it as effective for people as possible. So it's like, I'm always checking in with students, and as I see success stories, that makes me know that it works, right? So it's all about how people apply it. But when I do see people that don't come from much privilege, have a lot of adversity, like a lot of testimonies you see on our site and that I post up, these are like real people. And I see people like Raylonda McClinton in Detroit, who's a single mom. I've been to her salon. She runs a salon full time, but she closed 4 deals last year, doing exactly what we taught. So just her alone, if I got 1,000 students and not one other person closes a deal, which they have, there's been dozens of these stories, but just that one person alone that I know followed what I said in our academy, and she, as a single mom, no man at home, raising kids, and running a salon, can close 4 deals in Detroit, one of America's roughest cities, then I know anybody can do it. And whoever's not doing it, it's not on me, it's on them. And that's like my validation that what we created is a great academy. It's a great funnel, it's a great system. And so, like, you know, but I still want to always improve and add value and try to reach, because everyone learns differently as well. So I try to do whatever I can to reach all you guys at your learning peak. But there's nothing that, at the end of the day, when we get into like any real estate course anywhere, 90% of the information is the same. When you go to Fortune Builders, or you want to go to Mar Flip Houses, you want to go to Marcel Humphrey, you want to go to Robert Kiyosaki or whatever, the difference of all the courses are mainly 2 major things, or maybe 2 or 3. One is the teaching style and like the system. Some are boot camp, some are live, some are online, some are books. The price points. Some are thousands of dollars, some are hundreds of dollars, some are monthly, you know, whatever. And then the teacher is really at the bottom line. It's like, I do teach some specific things in our academy that most people don't touch. And I do think I'm really, really good at real estate and real estate investing. And I put myself up there with anyone. But more importantly, it's I feel as a teacher, it's all about you choosing who do I want to learn from. Looking at, I mean, just, that's my whole thing. It's like, I'm just here. And people can line me up with any of the real estate experts all across the country who do almost the same thing, teaching wholesaling, signing contracts, flipping houses, buying houses, and all that. But then it's a matter of who do you want to learn from? Who do you feel has your best interest at heart? Who do you feel delivers the information in a way that you can obtain it and digest it and comprehend it and apply it? That's all that separates, you know, people in this industry and what they're doing. Everybody say hi. Don't look so like dry. I'm not holding them hostage, I swear. They're happy faces. So, to all our other YMC members and JMA students, hello. We all salute you, and thank you guys for being on the call. Anyone just curious about what we're talking about, listen in. And going back into a little of my story, where it started is that when I really first got into real estate, I started as a loan officer in real estate. Then that's where I learned how to fix my credit. I learned about the secure credit cards, about your FICO score, about how banks view credit, and especially from a mortgage standpoint and getting loans. And that experience put in my head at 22 years old was the first time I worked for a mortgage company, right? And that was actually while I was on parole. So on parole on this thing called ISP, Intense Supervision Parole in New Jersey, where I had a 6 o'clock curfew, I had breathalyzer tests, I had drug tests, I had mandatory mentorship groups I had to go to on Saturdays. And I was very frustrated on parole because of the 6 o'clock curfew. I was a grown man with a 6 o'clock curfew. And I still was a knucklehead. My mind wasn't fully mature. So my mentality was, you know what? Instead of staying on this parole, I'd rather go back to jail, finish my time in jail, and come home with no parole. That was my genius plan. If I go back to jail, I could just do my last 8 months, work out. All right, we're good. That should be good. So I'm like, you know what? If I go back to jail, I can finish my last 8 months, come home, and I don't got to worry about anybody questioning me, no curfew, no anything, right? So that was my plan. I was going to go back to jail. Then I was thinking about my daughter, who was like 5 or 6 at the time. I'm like, man, I don't want my daughter. And I started thinking about home cooked food. I'm like, eh. And the pastor of the men's group I went to every Saturday, he was like our mentor, right? So we had like a group of like 18 men or 12 men or whatever in Plainfield, New Jersey. He would mentor us, like, have round group discussions talking about men's issues, and all of us were on parole and all that kind of stuff. So in those groups, he pulled me to the side and was like, Jay, you seem pretty clean cut. You have a lot of potential. I don't think you should go back to jail. I want you to try a job at this mortgage company. My wife is a processor. Just go try it. Put on some slacks and a button up and go try it. And I went there and they gave me a shot. And as I never even knew what a mortgage was. Like, I understood it had to do with buying a house, but I didn't really understand the complexity of a mortgage or the functionality of it or how it actually works. I had no real estate background at all. But when I went there, they broke it all down to me and how you actually get financed and where you get approved and refinancing, all that kind of stuff. So I brought that to my family, and then my family was so happy that I was not on the corner. Like my grandmother, she let me refinance her house. My aunt let me refinance her house. And I ended up making like $6 grand doing these loans. And I was like, wow, I just made 6 G's, legally. Just pushing papers, just writing an application and pushing papers. So that was amazing to me to be able to make money by facilitating a deal and not have to look over my shoulder. So I did that for the last several months that I was on parole, and learned a lot about real estate and the financing aspect of real estate. And that gave me an edge as an investor. So as I was doing financing, it dawned on me, for other people, it dawned on me that, hey, why don't I pull my credit and see where I stand in this equation? And so at the mortgage company, I pulled my own credit, found out it wasn't as bad as I thought. I owed a Sprint bill, I owed cable bill, there's things I had to clean up, but my whole thing was, if I put a plan in place to actually clean these things up, one day I'll be able to get qualified. And I also learned about how to get secure credit cards, going to a bank, giving them an amount of money, securing a card, and building my credit. So I did that, and after I got off the parole, I quit the mortgage company. I went back to the streets. It was just like, all right, this money's not fast enough for me. And I was used to a certain lifestyle, and I was just really lazy and didn't really want to get to professional business. It was like, this is what I know. So, but even while that stint from 22 to like 24, 25, I still was paying on my secure credit cards. I still was taking care of my credit, and after some other bumps and bruises in the streets, I was like, man, this whole drug dealer thing's not really working out the way I thought it was going to be. I'm going on 25, and I have 3 felonies now, 3 different states. If I catch another one, it's going to be bye-bye. And what really struck me when I was standing on a block in North New Jersey, as I was having this conversation with myself, was the fact that I really believed in myself. Like, I knew I was smart. I knew I had charisma. I knew I had talent. But I'm like, why is it that I'm just putting it all in one negative space? And I was doing things that I knew that my daughter couldn't be proud of, and that my mom couldn't be proud of. Like, I'm not gonna buy them things. Yeah, I had a nice car. I could be that guy that comes in with all the big bags for your daughter, and it's like, yeah, look at me. But my daughter couldn't say, my daddy is this. My daddy does this. Not something that wasn't made up, the story I gave her about what I really do. And so I decided to take the skills I learned in the mortgage company and about investing and actually go do them. And that's where I went back to the mortgage company, went and purchased my first house, second house, third house. In that process, learned a lot about how to facilitate a transaction and close a deal, and saw what the realtor was making and the properties that I was buying, and I was like, man, a realtor didn't really do much of nothing other than show me the house twice. Why don't I get that license too, and I get that check? So I understood how to finance deals. Then I understood how to close transactions and look for properties and pull comps and do all those things. And then I started honing my skills as an investor. And then I found out that besides just using my own credit and using my own financing, that I actually could use my own credit, own financing, that I actually could wholesale properties and legally kind of middleman them on top of listing houses, right? So that's where I learned all things learned in the academy. This is all a process from me from basically like 22 on, just of soaking in the industry, having experiences, all the do's and don'ts and everything else. So it's true, by 28, I made my first million and was just rolling. I was balling, I was doing my thing. But the difference in me then and me now was I was just all about me. Like, I didn't care about none of y'all, like, or you guys, or nobody. It was like, I'm getting my money and I'm gonna stun on y'all, and that's it. And my mentality, my maturity level really didn't change, is what really happened. So although I found a new hustle, I never really fully matured. And that's why I hammer home so much in the academy about professionalism and all those other kind of things, because it's not, for you guys under my tutelage, I'm just not trying to teach you real estate and go away. I'm trying to teach life transformation. I'm trying to teach next level. I'm trying to teach progression. I'm trying to bring back everything that has helped me, because as I made all that money, as quick as I made all that money, I remember going to the bank. One of my first big checks, I had maybe 30 grand in the bank already from mortgage deals and real estate deals. Then I closed a big deal for 93,000, and I had 100 grand in the bank. So the first time I had 100 grand legally, and it was this is crazy. I could actually go to my bank and see six figures in my bank, and nobody could do nothing because it's all was done the right way. And then I remember owning I think I had maybe, I want to say 22 properties, and I had 700,000 in the bank liquid, and I was just amazed, yo, I'm living my dream. And I was speaking at the time a little bit, I was speaking in churches and I was doing some youth empowerment, but then all the money and all that stuff got to my head. And I changed as a person. My hustle didn't change, I didn't start doing illegal things, but my mentality went from being the good guy to I got all this money, I made it, and it wasn't thank God, thank you for your blessings, thank you for your grace. It was nah, I'm that dude, I did this. I pulled myself out of the streets, I pulled myself out of the gutter, and I'm that guy. And that's when BT did a feature on me on Meet the Faith, the show they had on Sundays. Rockaware, I did a national campaign for Rockaware. I had a billboard in Vegas, a billboard in Times Square. I was in Vibe magazine. I was feeling myself, totally. But my spending habits were nuts. I just was I carrying 7 grand in my pocket. My boy's why you got $7,000 on you every day? Because I can. And I wanted to be that guy and live that lifestyle, and that led to my downfall. I was paying for everybody's everything, right? Everything in my family, everything my boys wanted. Oh, you want to borrow 10,000? Cool. Oh, we go to the club. All bottles on me. And I was that guy, and I would end up going broke. I would end up actually going bankrupt from mismanaging my money and having the wrong financial responsibility, the wrong mentality, which is why I try to bring you guys back to those same principles so you don't have to go through the same thing. Fortunate enough, I kicked myself in the butt for 2 years. I was stressing, because I thought I was the stupidest person in the world. How do you blow through $2-3 million? How do you do that? We've seen athletes blow through $89 million. So obviously it can be done. We've seen Hammer blow through $33 million. We've seen Tyson blow through $60-70 million. So I'm not the stupidest guy in the world, but I was really, I was depressed, because I think I'm really smart, and I'm how did you mess that up? And so, in God humbling me, when He brought me back, and I got back into real estate, it was dude, you have a larger purpose. You were living for you, and you weren't living for me. You weren't living for your people. And so as I got back into real estate and started climbing my way back, and pulling all these different moves, and then got on, national television programs and doing NBC and selling major luxury houses and just rebuilding my brand and start working with celebrities and starting getting to, what we're going to talk about next, apartment buildings and everything else. As I started doing that, it was like me finding my why. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you want to do real estate? And I was like, why I love real estate so much is because it helped save me, I feel, because it actually showed me a real way out, right? It showed me another way out of the streets. And I also saw and felt the pride that I had when I purchased my first, I say Lord of your land. It was a real prideful feeling. I know Tosin went through it. A real prideful feeling when you purchase that property, whether it's a lot, I don't care if it's a vacant lot in Mississippi that's swampland. If it's yours, it's yours. But when I owned my first property, I could pull up and my tenants are like, the landlord's here. And it's me they're talking about. That feeling and that sense of responsibility actually does something to you, does something to your psyche when you start owning your own property. You're just not the tenant. So all those principles is what I want to give back, and why I wrote the book Hip Hop to Homeowners, why I started speaking in high schools, doing my Hip Hop to Homeowners financial literacy program, bringing a DJ in, teaching high school kids about credit and all that stuff early. And anyway, now I dropped the World Star videos, like giving the messages to our community, wake up and all that kind of stuff. And I started seeing there were a lot of people out there in the world that had views like me or understood where I was coming from. And then hence grew the J. Morrison brand. But in that, what I found also was a lot of people wanted me to mentor them, or be my apprentice, or learn more of what I had to offer. But it's like, how do you mentor thousands of people throughout the country? I couldn't figure that out. Like, I didn't have enough time in the day to do it. And so through a lot of what I learned about technology and internet and just ways to kind of package yourself and package your knowledge and all that kind of stuff, we basically created the Academy, right? Which is an online program that allowed you to get my knowledge. But I just didn't want to like give information. Like I do that on YouTube. I got like 200 something YouTube videos. Like I could do 1 million videos a day. That's easy. But then it's like, how do I actually engage you guys? So webinars, conference calls. The conference call that we do in the Academy every other week, you guys don't really take enough advantage of that, if you ask me. Like, I'm really on the line every other week. I haven't missed one call in almost a year and a half. Just answer whatever you want to ask me. You got someone that's a wealth of knowledge and a lot of life experience that you can ask me anything. And I'll give you my best take on what you should do. So that's really the real value in the Academy, if you ask me. Outside of, for the $97 a month, the lessons are, you guys get a ton of knowledge from the lessons, the textbooks, the dictionary, the virtual poetry lessons, and the bonus lessons. But the fact that every other week you have someone who's willing to be on the phone with you, that I have a lot of life experiences. Like I just showed you guys a little snippet of my story, but there's a lot I've been through, a lot that I know, and a lot of adversity I've been able to climb through. So, and what I don't know, I know what I don't know. And I'm not a BSer where I'm going to tell you something I don't know. I'm saying, no, bro, I don't know that. But if you go here, you can find the answer. And that's another part. I'm very authentic. Like I'm not trying to be Mr. Perfect. I'm not trying to be the I know everything guy. I'm the smartest guy in the world. But I'm smart enough to know what I don't know and what I do know. So anyway, from the J. Morrison Academy and from YMC, which was my YMC started as me basically being in high schools, empowering youth. And I'm like, yo, young minds can do anything. Well, it started as actually Young Millionaires Club. I'm like, hey, let's have a Young Millionaires Club. But then like all the teachers were like, I don't know, a millionaire means you gotta make money. And I'm like, all right, fine. Young minds can, YMC. And that's because I believe that, all of us, and I feel like in our community, a lot of times we feel like once you hit 30, you're old. Like 30 is young in the real world. And us as young minds, no matter what age we are, old minds too, can do anything if you apply yourself the right way. So anyway, that's just a little bit about the J. That's just a little bit. There's a lot more I want to say, but I want to keep this somewhat brief. About the J. Morrison brand and YMC. It's basically me packaging my experiences and being able to offer it to the world the best way I can.